Well, hey, good afternoon. Welcome back to my little gardening show. It's been a little while um, since I made an update or anything like that. Been busy the last couple weeks with various things, but we finally got out to the garden this past weekend. Harvested basically the stuff that's coming in late, like peppers still are coming on strong. Harvested a bunch of lettuce and probably close to 2 bushels of green beans and some I don't know, maybe 10 or 12 tomatoes that were still good, not cracked or blighted or anything like that. Anyway, spent the afternoon here snapping green beans. We're actually still snapping them. I got the kids snapping them in the house. We had it's about 2 bushels, close to it, all together. We got our first frost last night, so woke up with frost on the roofs, frost on the windshields of the vehicles, and so there's probably frost out at the garden on the plants, which should start to slow down the growth of the stuff that's still growing out there. We got most of the green beans harvested, so today, after we get them snapped and all of that, I'll be packing them up. We're not going to be canning them this go around, this fall batch. What I'm going to try doing is using my food saver, and we're not even washing the beans because they're pretty clean. We got a pretty heavy rain Friday night, early Saturday morning, and so the beans were really clean when we picked them. They look really good, so I'm not even going to bother washing them, because when we cook them anyway, I'm going to be throwing them in like an Instapot, or we're going to be cooking them for several hours, down low, to go with the meal. So it should, any pathogen or whatever that might make us sick or whatever, it would kill anything, like if, something happened to pee on the beans or whatever. But I don't see any of that. So we're going to package them. I'm going to pack them up in these quart-sized bags, use a vacuum sealer, and then we're just going to throw them directly in the freezer. The beans should store pretty well. They're one of the vegetables that, though the benefit of blanching is that it gets rid of the enzyme that would break these down so that they last longer. But being vacuum packed and the fact that they're, there's not going to be a lot of moisture, should be just fine. And we're going to eat most of these beans anyway within the year, as we have meals and make soups and stuff this fall and winter and early spring. So really not concerned about the beans going bad or anything like that, or really have any issues. And if this works out really well, maybe this is the way that I'm going to do at least the fall harvest of these. The only downside with doing it this way is that, if we lose power, the freezer goes out, then I got to figure out what we're going to do so that, they don't go bad that way. But other than that, doing it this way should save me a little time. I mean, there's a little bit of time involved packing them up and then vacuum packing them, but, then you're done. Then there's no cleanup, as far as the canning. There's no washing of jars. There's none of that stuff. So let me show you one of these bags here that I already got vacuumed. So here we go. Got a quart of beans right there. Nice and tight. I mean, the majority of the air has been sucked out of this thing. And the other thing too is I didn't have to worry about having to manually shut down the food saver. I think that's a little trick. That if the food is moist or whatever, you have to kind of watch the honeycomb, and if there's stuff that starts streaking up, I hit the off button to start the sealing process right away, because by the majority of the air is sucked out anyway. It's trying to suck juice out of the whatever the contents in the bag. It's worked out pretty well. So I don't know. I've got probably 15 quarts sitting in front of me that. Once I have everything vacuum sealed. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Then after we're done processing the beans, we've got apples. We went to the apple orchard this past weekend and yesterday, and picked about five pecks, 5 full bags of apples. So we're going to make some apple butter, maybe some pie filling. I don't know. The apples should keep for a while. I've got them down in the garage where it's nice and cool. so there's no pressure to like get that done like today, which is good. It's something we'll be able to work on later this week or maybe even next weekend, depending on what all's going on. And then we'll be going out to the garden to work on some things, as the weather continues to cool down and things die back. There'll be, a fair amount of prep work to get the garden closed down for the winter and prepared for the fall leaves and stuff that we'll bring in. I need to contact the township because historically they've brought, at least the last couple of years, they'll bring out a dump truck load of leaves for us that will cover everything. So I definitely want to get a cover mulch on the garden. A lot of structures that I need to put away, pulling the stakes. And as far as the plants, the ones I can pull out of the ground easily, I'll pull out, but the rest of them I'll probably lop off right at the base and then let the roots decompose in the soil. Try not to disturb the soil or do any more tilling this year, but let the garden kind of rest and go into fall. And hopefully I get enough cover on it that most of the weeds will be suppressed and kind of hold them off at bay. I've been kind of going back and forth. I've been kind of toying with the Mittleider gardening method the last couple years to just kind of supplement, because just the large space I have and the time constraints that I've got as far as amount of time I've got available to get out there. We've had to use tilling, and and then my dad's been a primary caretaker of the garden through the week. It'd be really nice to go to more of a no-till format and go more into building the soil and getting to the point where you're not as dependent on the inputs, as far as organic fertilizers or things of that nature. It would take us a while to get to that point, I think. So we'll kind of see how things play out this, over the next couple weeks, and what we can do to make things a little easier out there. So anyway, we'll get started. I need to start packing these away before the kids bring the next load of beans up, and then try to rest the rest of the evening as we go into the work week next week. So anyway, I hope things are going well for you guys. Guess I'd say for now until next time, happy gardening.